On July 29, 2012, Peace Corps volunteers in Ghana invited 28 deaf students from all over the country to participate in a leadership camp for the deaf. This 5-day program offered sessions in goal setting, confidence building, and leadership skills. The camp's mission was to allow students and teachers from around the country to meet each other and create a network to advocate for a proud deaf community in Ghana. Upon returning to their schools and communities, these leader students will inspire and empower their classmates.
These students have been chosen because they're some of the best outstanding students at their schools and because they're honest and they're hardworking and they have already shown themselves to be leaders among their peers. And so we were trying to discuss how we can kind of bring deaf students from all over the country in one area to communicate, to discuss their problems, and just to meet each other.
I think it's really nice to see my students interacting with deaf people from all over the country, so they know that they're not alone.
I brought 4 students. 2 of my students had never left the central region before. 2 of my students had never been farther north than Kumasi. They're all trying new food and meeting new people. I think they've all made new friends.
I think that will be really powerful for them to really get a real concept of how powerful they could be as a community if they get together to communicate more.
So what happens is that we wanted to put volunteers inside schools to help these students to be able to use their hands and their brains to do art.
A lot of the arts and crafts we're doing, they're just fun, simple projects to break up the days. But a lot of them are focused on recycling and using things creatively.
Yeah, so currently I'm starting fabric coil pots with the students. So the fabric is taken from seamstresses within the community that usually just burn them. And we're having the students twist the fabric and they are sewing them into coils just like you would a regular clay coil pot. And when they finish, they will be leaving with a pot that has a lid and a base.
So the students are starting to realize that, in order to create a marketable good, they don't necessarily have to have a huge income. If they're thinking creatively and they're using what's around them, they'll find ways to make things work. So,
competition really motivates the students. If you turn any sort of learning thing into a game, they really get into it. They'll get really excited and they'll be jumping up and down, which is exciting to see as a teacher.
I chose the scavenger hunt idea because I was trying to think of more games that were related to HIV that were fun and got them moving and out of their seats, and was sort of a transition from them sitting and watching my HIV presentation, which can sometimes be sort of dull information. And I wanted them to be tied together in teams so they couldn't go to different places around the campus. They had to stay all together as a team, and so it built teamwork skills and leadership skills, which is the point of this camp. And then it also dealt with, tested their vocabulary skills as well, because they had to be able to read the information sheet to go to each location around the school and then come back here. And so they all had to work together, and then they had to come and put the HIV risk cards in the correct order from no risk to high risk.
I think a lot of times my students struggle with teamwork and the team effort. So even there's this one activity where they're building the house out of newspaper and tape. And so just seeing them work together and be patient with one another was impressive to me.
I'm really, really looking forward to our guest speaker. He's Robert from the Ghana National Association of the Deaf. So he's head of advocacy at the association, and he is incredible. He's really intelligent and really, really passionate about deaf equality.
I have come here today not to just talk and go. No, I want to make it a point that you believe in yourself. You might be deaf, but you can achieve anything. University is not just for hearing people only. No, university is for all of us, even the deaf. University is open, all work is open, everyone is welcome, but only if you try hard.
they can't get that from me. You know, I'm from America and I'm hearing. So anything I say isn't going to get across to them as well as this man who he's actually from Upper East, grew up in Ghana and is now where he is today.
When I came, I was very surprised with what the volunteers are doing. They are very developed in their sign language skills. They are doing things that even their own parents will not do.
Also, yesterday's session about pride clubs, I think, was really sort of opened the eyes of my students about how you could be someone who's deaf and be empowered and advance yourself.
I don't believe that the deaf are bad people. The deaf and the hearing are the same. We can do the same work. Why? Because God gave us the same things. We all have expertise. It's just that we're deaf.
And we're going to encourage them to start deaf pride clubs at each of the schools, which will then be communicating with the pride clubs at the other schools that participated in the camp, but also doing outreach in their individual communities.
Here at the camp, I've learned a lot. Before, I never knew about HIV. I've lost many friends and classmates, either because they have become pregnant or contracted HIV. And what I've learned here has helped me to develop awareness of these issues and how to prevent them.
I think it's really important to support special education and deaf education, especially in developing countries, and try to give them all the opportunities you can and encourage them.
Again, the government doesn't actually give support to these schools because of the disability that these kids have. They think that they will never do well, so why spend money on them?
Sometimes they think it's a curse to be deaf. I think that's what the perception they had, that when you're a deaf person, it means you're cursed from God. And last time I was telling someone, no, it's not a curse. They can do everything, just that they can't hear.
Oftentimes they are stigmatized so that the schools themselves are almost like leper colonies in a way. They're put off on somewhat the outskirts of a relatively larger city, and with that, it's difficult to get community involvement.
So we really want this project to continue into the upcoming school year, so that when they get back to the schools, we're hoping they'll be motivated, they'll be mobilized, they'll be proud to be deaf, and they'll share that with all their peers. And teaching hearing people sign language and putting up posters and proving that they can do everything that a hearing person can do, except for hear, that it will make a change.
Here I've danced, enjoyed, met different people. I've seen parts of the country I've never seen, and now I can go back to my school and share these experiences with all my friends.
The things I have learned here, I understand very well. I can teach others all the important issues about people like me who are deaf. I can teach them that we too are important, and in the future, I will become a leader.
Bye, corn dog.
P. Cola. It's refreshing and delicious.